When I think of farming, images that come to mind are passing by the field, seeing the cotton, soybeans.
Also think of farmers, and truly they are one of the hardworkingest group of people I think I've ever met in my entire life.
Reminds me of growing up, how I used to help my father grow produce and sell it in the street. And
a lot of open land, tobacco farms, beans, wheat, things like that. A lot comes to mind when I think about farming.
I think of very generous, passionate people who are driven to work not only for their farms and their families, but to provide for their communities.
Our clothing, our homes, our energy, all are tied to agriculture. So we couldn't live without farmers.
When I think of farming, the images that come to my mind are sustainability. Is how do we make sure that we continue this? How do we get farmers and the community to understand the importance of locally grown vegetables?
Farmers are really the backbone of everything. If you don't have any farms, you don't have food. And you don't have food for everything. I think a lot of people just don't know how much time and effort is really involved year-round that is invested, from them.
It's going to provide local produce for the community, and growing local often makes it affordable and accessible, to people in our area, in our community.
The health consequences of not eating healthy foods are things that we see in chronic diseases in the area, heart disease, cerebrovascular disease, obesity, especially things like diabetes. We have a program here at the health department to teach people that are pre-diabetic the types of foods to eat, how to prepare them, and we have a big emphasis on using local products and teach people if they do grow them, how to pick them, what time to pick them, and how to cook them.
One of our biggest goals here is to provide more fresh fruits and vegetables to families. And we do that by identifying farmers in the area that we can purchase produce from. And we use that produce to distribute to our families.
The food bank operates by receiving donations, both from corporate partners, local farmers, and individuals that donate. We store food here and then distribute it from our own food pantry, and then we also work with 100 other hunger relief partners throughout 15 counties in northeastern North Carolina, and annually we're providing over 7 million meals currently.
Right now, we rely on a globalized food system in which we depend on large-scale commercial farms to feed us. Large commercial farms are experiencing soil degradation, water depletion, and this is starting to result in the worsening quality of fruits and vegetables. This is why it's important to support local regional food systems that can improve our wealth by increasing economic activity in the region and improve our health by increasing access to fresh fruits and vegetables that are sold and harvested as close to the source as possible.
Buy locally and choose locally whenever possible. Money that's spent with local farmers will then recirculate within a community and only benefit that community more the more times it gets circulated.
The most beneficial part of having a farm on school grounds has been the involvement of the students, giving the students an opportunity to take what they've learned in the classroom and horticulture classes and actually apply it in the fields. We became the first GAP certified, vertically integrated, student-led farm in North Carolina.
We operate under the Farm to School Federal Initiative, and under that initiative, students are supposed to be responsible for the farm, planting of it, managing the crops, spraying, harvesting, marketing, all aspects of it. The students are very involved in the farm. Halifax County Schools has a lot of acres that's available to us, and we would just like to expand out and do more of just what we're doing right now.
We have hired youth from the middle school, and what we've done, we've provided abilities for the youth to get entrepreneurship skills, management skills. Basically, we just have to continue to purchase from local farmers.
Our farmers are aging, and soon we will need a new generation of farmers to take on this responsibility.
What do you think counties can do to support food infrastructure?
I think that counties in the region need to see food infrastructure as critical infrastructure. There's a lot of talk about infrastructure needs in rural areas. We talk about roads, we talk about the electric grid, and all of those things are important. Food infrastructure is equally important because what's more fundamental than the ability to feed ourselves as a region? We need to make the case that investing in our region's food system and food system infrastructure is important for the environment. We're rural counties, we depend on our environment. Small-scale, sustainable agriculture can be supported in this region if we build the infrastructure to support it, so that the only kinds of agriculture that survive aren't necessarily large-scale, chemical-intensive and carbon-intensive agriculture, but instead smaller-scale agriculture that through intermediaries such as food hubs can still serve a lot of people.
I guess as a chef, I think it would be beneficial to have some sort of intermediate area where the vegetables could be washed, processed, almost like a produce section of a grocery store. You know, you don't go into a grocery store and see the roots still on the vegetables. You don't see the dirt still on them. They've been washed and processed. If we could create something like that where it goes through that process and then is delivered to these various restaurants would be super beneficial.
I think supporting local farmers is a solution to feeding our community at this point and educating our community. Our focus has been on micro market farming, meaning that small farms less than 7 acres. Market farming, meaning that they grow for the market. So we don't put anything in the ground unless we have a contract for it.
Food has become cheaper and cheaper, and this is making it harder and harder for our local farmers to make a profit. We as a region can support our youth in farming by ensuring that they have access to the resources that they need to thrive.
I think the biggest thing that local officials can do is that they can, I'm going to keep coming back to this, providing access, right? Because there are often local lands and properties that could be used for community gardens or community-like gardens. What we know is that in areas where there are gardens and where people are actively working in those gardens, crime is reduced, right? Gardens provide great stress relief and stress reduction, and so they're actually really good for areas where they're high crime if there are people who are willing to go in and do the work, and community officials can help to make that possible.
Farming is important because of legacy. And so what we need to do is we need to focus on concepts and understand that the business of farming is in fact a business, and that people can actually make a living and enjoy and understand the economic benefits of farming.
Number one thing I would say is get engaged. Stay engaged with your elected officials. You can come to the office, you can call, email, engage us in any type of efforts and any ideas that you have. We love to see residents and constituents come to us with issues and solutions that requires us to help with the implementation. We are all about bettering and improving our community.